Welcome. In this video we're going to make a simple program and then we will run a template. Save the template and then learn how to reuse it. And a few other things. So crank up Visual Studio. Go to File and then Control-Shift-N to make a new project. Now these options for you might look a little different because you might have different stuff installed, but you should definitely have console application. Okay, that comes by default with Visual Studio. And then you have Visual C#. Remember, that hash mark in this context is read as sharp, C#, the way it is in music. Okay, so choose that and then click OK. Leave the settings below as they are. This generates a template for us. Let's go over what's in the template. It can be a little overwhelming at first. These are using statements. These allow us to bring in external features that our program needs to run. That's the purpose of having them, okay? So usings allow us to access external features that our program needs to run well. Alright, notice that when I typed, a little yellow line has appeared. But if I hit save, right here, that little line disappears. You see? There you go. So now it's green, in fact. Alright, let's go over what's here. Now, this is our namespace. We get our own namespace when you make a program. And for many simple programs, you don't really need a namespace. We'll use it sometimes and not at other times. It depends. Alright? And then here we have a class program that's also collapsible. You see that? And then lastly, static void main. That's also collapsible. Main is what we call a function. Main has a specific name, main, because this is how the operating system hooks it so that it can load it into memory. Okay? And then we can use our program that we have written through main. And main is very important. It doesn't matter whether you're doing a graphical application or you're doing a simple console application on an old-fashioned black and white window. Main is always, there. Okay? There you go. Alright, let's take a look. Even if you're using XAML, which is a newer way of doing graphical applications, there's main also. Alright, we'll talk about all that throughout the course. And again, notice this is yellow. So when you save it, it turns green. Further, here in the Solution Explorer, let's go over those details. And there are many of them, but we'll take a look at some. If you don't see Solution Explorer, go to View and then Solution Explorer, Control-W. Alright? So there's the name of the application, there's the name of the solution, like that. Okay, and you can search them. If you place your cursor there, you can search them also. Okay? Now let's take a look at the properties. If you double-click properties and you open that node, it tells you stuff that you can configure overall that applies to the entire application that you are making. Okay? So that's the purpose of properties. Now further we have references. If you expand the references node, that there tells you the external functionality being used. And there's a lot of it again. Alright, and then let's take a look. There's app.configuration, configuration. This is a configuration file. This here is known as a language called XML, Extensible Markup Languages. So for our purposes, we can leave that, no need to modify. And then there's program.cs, that's our physical file. If you expand that node, inside it is our class file. See, those icons are different, right? That one says C#, but that one has like a little tree structure. That's a class. If you expand that, you've got inside it main, and that gets its own little box icon, right? That's a function that has a different kind of icon. So all of these icons that you see here are meaningful. They represent different concepts. These icons mean something, okay? All right, and notice the nesting of things also. So that looks like this, and now what we're going to do is make a template so that we can use it and reuse it. We don't want to have to sit there, deleting the using statements every single time. So to make a template, you will take the following steps. Go to File, and then see where it says Export Template. Okay, you should click Yes here. All right, and there's the project template, so you can export that. Click Next. Here you can set the configurations for the template. So the template name, for example, okay? If you have one already, it will simply prompt you to override it, that's all. Okay, so C#, say course template, like this. And you can even put in a description if you want or not. This will generate what is known as a zipped up file, a compressed file that you can share with other people, for example. Alright, click Finish. In my case, again, it exists already, so I'll just overwrite it. And then this should open up Windows Explorer to confirm that it's been generated. You see? It's right here. C# course template. Now I can make use of it. I can share it and so on. Alright, let me X this off the screen. and do this. Go to File now, and then close this. Close the solution. Okay, and to make use of the template, you go File, New Project. Right, and then here, if you type into the box, imagine you have a lot of them, and you don't know which is what, right? You can just type, C# course template. You see it shows up there, and then you can select it, and click OK. And the benefit is that now, when you open program.cs, it's all available in a simplified version and so on. Okay? To run our first program, this is what we'll do. We have this template, correct? Go into the body here and type the following: console dot, and notice that turns like a very light blue, right line, so that even the coloring indicates something. In Visual Studio, every single thing, every icon, color, it all means something. There's nothing random here. And now we're going to display some text, so type hello and then world, close that with a semicolon. That's it. It has to be closed with a semicolon or it will not work. And to give this a run, you can go debug and start without debugging, Control F5. And this will bring up a console window. Let's take a look at what we mean by a console window more vividly. This is a console window, okay? Big black window, old-fashioned looking, okay? But it's a good way to learn. Now notice that yours, the first time comes up, might be smaller. Mine is big, so this is what you do. Click on that little icon, go to Properties, right? And then from here, if you choose, for example, yours will very likely be on raster fonts, okay? So if you go to Lucida Console, you can choose the font size, 24, 28, and so on, okay? And also colors, you see that? You can click on colors, like that, okay? So screen text, for example, if you want it, right now it's set to yellow, but you can set it to some other one, whatever works for you, correct? You can set the colors, make it colorful, more enjoyable to learn. Click OK, and now it looks a little smaller. And notice it says press any key to continue, so you press enter, and it closes the application. That's it. Now, another thing that I want to tell you about is the locals window. This is really powerful. When you get stuck, there's a feature here called Debug and Step Into, F11. This will walk you through the execution sequence in a very clear and controlled fashion, so there's no guessing involved. Alright, so that means, just notice, it holds at that line and tells you what the next thing is to be executed. And then you click this button that says Step Into F11, right? Then you run that. So now if you go over to this window, notice that text has been displayed. And of course, in this mode, again, you would have to configure this little window here separately. It's just the way it's been designed, But if you want, let's go to layout. See that? You can change the size. So we'll set a console, right? Make it big so it's easy to read, 24. So there's still quite a few things that you can change, the properties and so on. Okay? I did not set that. Let me try that again. I forgot to click OK. There you go. So now it's big, like that. All right. And then to finish execution, you click that button, Step Into, until it unloads. That's it. Now, debug and Step Into seems trivial, but when you have a lot of code, it can save you a lot of frustration. It's extremely insightful because it provides a lot of information that you'd simply never become aware of. In other words, make sure you have the little locals window available on the bottom. If you don't, you go to Debug and then Windows and then scroll over and then choose locals. You see, Alt-4. Okay, and that will open it up. As a program runs, this window is powerful because it tells you what the variables are. It further tells us what the values of the variables are, the data types of the variables. It tells us a lot of summary information that can save you a lot of time and energy when there's a bug and you don't know what's going on. That there will help you. And further, even hovering your mouse over things in this mode. Right? In this mode, when you hover your mouse over different aspects, it's going to give you little nodes and provide a lot of really useful information, which means don't memorize things, because Visual Studio gives you everything that you need. You just have to know how to use all the details well, and then it becomes much more powerful for you as a tool. Okay, so that's it. This is our first simple program. This here, remember, is a comment, so this is for human readability more than anything else. Usings are external features that we can use within our program. And if I disable this, just to remind you, if I disable this line, notice that this console has become underlined, and it says the name console does not exist in the current context because it cannot be found. To find it, to make the program be able to find it, make sure that here you have this not commented out. And then it can resolve the name, it can find the name, it can locate that functionality and use it in our program. And that is it for this one, so I will see you in the next one.